It's my makeup person. Okay, thumbs up. I guess we're live and on the air. Thanks to everybody who signed up in advance or interlopers who are showing up on Facebook. My name is Mark Kastel. I'm being assisted today by Krista Carter. Krista's in Washington, D.C., where Organic Eye is headquartered, and I am on the farm here in arid southwest Wisconsin, where it's quite balmy today. I think we had 16 below, a lot warmer than 24 below a couple days ago. And I feel sorry for you folks in Texas who aren't used to this kind of stuff. So, like your mother said, eat your organic vegetables. That's the subject today. I just want to plug Organic Eye is very serious about watchdogging the organic industry. We're corporate and governmental watchdogs trying to protect the true meaning and the foundational precepts of what organic food is really all about. So I'm first going to talk about, we're generally talking today about produce, and I don't know if you can see it all, but I'll be holding some of it up. And I was about a decade ago, I got a lot of phone calls, quite a few phone calls from the media asking me, what's better, local or organic? And my answer was an emphatic yes, yes. There is no reason why you can't have local and organic. And I'm going to talk about the real difference between local produce that's cultured in a way that feeds the soil, not the plants, that creates nutritionally superior food. And I'm going to compare that to industrial organics, which is basically, I refer to it as organic by substitution. They basically use a model of intensive agriculture with lots of inputs, and they happen to be organically improved inputs, approved by independent bodies that are not overseen directly by the USDA and are funded by corporate agribusiness. So, but really, there is a foundational difference between owning your farm, growing food for your local community, really believing in organics, and trying to create superior soil fertility. And that soil fertility transfers into superior nutrition in our food. So there's no reason you can't have both. Now, so we talk about organic and local. Let me tell you, there's a hierarchy. And so if you remember, the USDA had a food pyramid with different food types. And a friend of mine who helped found the Organic Valley Co-op, he came up with his own food pyramid, and at the base is certified organic. That's where we should start, but that's not the pinnacle. I'm going to suggest that the pinnacle is growing your own, that there's something special about the produce that you can grow your own. First of all, you're going to have a real heart connection. And next, Krista, I just want to make sure that I'm down in a little view, but I'm in the middle for you. Okay. And I want to see my name in lights at some point. So obviously we have a connection to the food when we grow it ourselves, but we have a saying here in Wisconsin, don't go out to the garden to pick the sweet corn until you already have the water boiling on the stove. That if you want really flavorful food, you need to have it fresh. Now, there are super sweet hybrid varieties of corn now that really hold up well, but it used to be very dramatic in terms of losing sugar and losing flavor. Every minute it's off the vine. And so it doesn't matter what kind of food you have, fresh is better. And for most of the year, in most of the United States, when we go and choose organic food from the grocery stores, from Whole Foods, if you buy it online, it's old food. Almost all organic food in Wisconsin in the middle of the summer and the fall is coming from California and Mexico. If you go to a farmer's market, so, one step down from your own garden is the local farmer's market. or even better yet, a CSA, community sponsored supported agricultural farm, where you buy a subscription and get a box every week or every other week of fresh produce. And when I say fresh, they might have picked it 10 hours ago, not 10 days ago in Mexico. So the flavor and nutrition unsurpassed. The meaning not only to you then, but to your local community in terms of eating from your own food shed, putting the dollars that you earn back into a farmer's pocket, back into your community where they spend them in their community. We're really far advanced. So own garden, farmer's market. The next tier down would be the almost 300 or approximately 300 member-owned grocery cooperatives, natural food co-ops in the country, where they have a relationship with the local farm community. So I say it's kind of like a farmer's market 7 days a week. It's the next best thing to meeting the farmer and shaking her hand or his hand, is to join one of those co-ops. And in communities where there's not a co-op, oftentimes there's a privately owned natural food store that will have that same connection. Maybe close to that would be Whole Foods, but be careful. Their definition of organic might be 8 hours on a truck from somewhere on the East Coast. So, but be a discerning consumer. Also, don't assume that it's organic if it's at Whole Foods. A lot of times half their produce is conventional. So how do we eat more local food and eat it in season? And I'll tell you, my farming guru when I was farming 30 years ago was Elliot Coleman, who's still doing it, God bless him, and still making trouble in Maine. But there's a real difference between a carrot growing in the dark, loamy soil here that's nurtured by a family farmer. This came from Harmony Valley Farms here in Wisconsin. And a carrot that's grown by Grimway Farms that manages 30,000 acres in California. Bunny Love, Cal Organics, those are brands owned by Grimway. And to me, no offense to those hardworking people in California, those California carrots taste like cardboard. Elliot will tell you that, especially in the fall, after the first couple frosts, these carrots start to taste like candy. They are so sweet. These are I don't know if you could see them well enough, but they are in just beautiful condition. They were harvested this past fall in Wisconsin, and I have a giant bag of them in the refrigerator, and they will keep very well until I've eaten them all. Eating from your food shed and eating in season. So in the fall, those carrots are like candy. In the fall, if you're lucky enough not to live in a place like California, although there's obviously advantages, we get frosts. The kale, the brassicas, the cole crops, the broccoli, the cauliflower, the Brussels sprouts are incredibly sweet after they get a frost or a hard freeze. So I prioritize what I'm eating. I never eat asparagus from Peru in the middle of the winter. I eat it in the late spring, early summer, and I eat it every week, multiple pounds of it. And I might freeze a couple pounds for a little bit later in the summer. Same with strawberries. I don't eat strawberries this time of year, but when they're available locally, I eat them like crazy. Or when I can get blueberries from Michigan, I buy maybe a flat, and people will freeze those, or you'll make your own preserves. I never eat winter squash. As much as I love squash, I never eat it in the late summer and early fall. I'm eating it right now. This is another beautiful local squash. It's in great shape. It's going to be fine for a matter of weeks. But as soon as we get our first killings frosts, and I have a lot less to choose from, either from my own garden or from my neighbor's farms, then I will switch gears and start eating these root crops and fall crops. And so here's more from Harmony Valley. I have to think that celeriac is just one of the ugliest vegetables around. If you were just going to eat it based on beauty, you probably wouldn't do it. But when you slice this up, it smells just like, it's like a meatier, denser celery. And it's great in stews. It's great with chicken. I put it in, sliced thinly. I'll put it in with some of my stir fries. Adds flavor, adds nutrition. And we have turnips and beets. And there's this great winter radish that Harmony Valley grows, and I was a member of their fall CSA, so that's why, and I bought extra, that's why I have a lot left. But they have a winter radish. If you cut into this, it's bright red, ruby red, and gorgeous all winter into next summer. These will be for sale at the food co-op, and beautiful. And so I'm eating food that has a meaning. There's a meaning to me that it's grown locally. There's a meaning to me that I know my farmers, and you can meet them too at your farmers market or join that CSA. And so, and I'm getting great food. So obviously my proteins, I can get pasture raised chicken, grass-fed beef, eggs from happy chickens that get to run around outside to go with all my nice vegetables. So where am I on this rave out that I'm doing here on vegetables? So the next thing you might want to think about is canned or frozen vegetables. Well, again, number one, from your garden. And as organic prices and all grocery prices now has gone up, there's been an exponential increase in the interest in gardening. If you're interested, if you haven't done it, this is a great year to try on a modest scale. If you have done it, let me tell you, they're saying get your orders in for seeds quickly because there were a lot of seeds sold out last year. But if you're putting all that work in, let's preserve that harvest. And so canning, there's a lot of great books on canning and freezing. And whether you blanch the vegetables or fruits very quickly before you freeze them, or whether you just stick them in a bag like me, they won't last as long, but if you're going to eat them quickly, that's a great routine. So your own frozen vegetables. But now we're in the middle of the winter. Maybe we've run out of our frozen vegetables, or we didn't freeze enough, and or didn't freeze any to begin with. And now we have a chance to decide when we go to the store, do we buy fresh? I'll use green beans as an example, though I'm not holding them up. But do we buy fresh green beans or do we buy frozen? And I have been so disappointed in buying fresh green beans at a really pricey point in the winter, when I can buy from a local farm, which is called Snowpack, and right across the river from me in Minnesota, or we say Minnesota. And it's a family farm. It's been around for 41 years. Now, their green beans are way better than the fresh ones in the winter. Why? They're harvested all at the absolute peak of maturity and instantly transported locally to their plant, where they are quickly blanched and flash frozen. Can hardly say that. And then they end up at my food co-op. And this is just incredible quality. I really recommend Snowpack. And for co-ops, when I've done training at co-ops or spoken at their national convention, I'm really pushing this brand because there's a story behind it. And there's a story behind the other brands that we know, like here's Cascadian Farms. This started as a farm out in the Pacific Northwest, but now they're a big corporation. On the back, it says distributed by Small Planet Foods. Doesn't that sound nice? But Small Planet Foods is owned by General Mills. But if they're the only vegetable frozen around, take a look. Almost all frozen vegetables, almost all frozen fruit, even Snowpack, is imported. So I don't eat fruit in the winter. I eat a lot of apples, and I still have local apples. And I eat a lot of pears at this time of the year. I love pears. But so these are from Chile or Mexico, these berries. That was a blend. And there are a couple other brands. There's Earthbound Farms. They're owned by Group Danone now. And they're a big industrial farming operation in California. Here's Woodstock Farms, man. You know, Woodstocks. But they don't say that. Do they say it on the back here? Yeah, it's owned by UNFI, United Natural Foods Incorporated, big giant distributor. And these mangoes are for Peru. Of course, there's some fruit. I buy bananas. I buy avocados. They're not local. But Earthbound Farms, another big corporate name. But the one that really sticks in my craw, the one that really gets me, is this beautiful package of Strawbush Farms. And some of you have seen these at the food co-ops or Whole Foods. And it says certified sustainable. Family farm, certified. What does certified sustainable mean? It means whatever their marketing manager decides it means on any given day. But even then, you look at their package, unlike certified organic, which by federal law means something, their certified means whatever, and it doesn't even say, there's no definition down here. There's nothing on the package who's certifying it, Uncle Joe. And it's sustainable, but they use farm chemicals. So they don't really tell you that. And it's a non-GMO packaging, but non-GMO, that's all over packages of food that aren't even available. I don't think cauliflower is available in a genetically engineered form yet. And so be careful. This one costs less than organic, but not that much more, not that much less, and a lot more than regular conventional vegetables that are sprayed. So this one, very disingenuous. So I'm coming close to wrapping up. And if you have questions, I should have said this already. Krista's saying, yes, you should have said this already. If you have questions and you're on Zoom, you can put those into the chat feature, and Krista will handle those and read those in a few minutes. If you're on Facebook, please use the comment section, and she's looking, I don't know how she does it, at both simultaneously. So just adding a few things. I eat fresh greens year round because there are some local farmers, a couple of them are Amish producers. They have unheated greenhouses. It was 24 degrees below zero last week. It was 16 below today, I think. And we still have fresh spinach and salad greens. The spinach, it's $10 a pound. Wow, that sounds expensive, but it's thick. The flavor is unparalleled. There's a few weeks in the winter where it's too cold or too dark, they don't have it, but most of the year we have that. And unlike the bags or the plastic clamshells that I open up that come from California, I haven't opened one in years because in a day or two it gets black and slimy. It's old food. The only reason it looks presentable is they evacuate the oxygen and fill it with nitrogen so it doesn't break down, but it's old food disguised as something fresh in your grocery store. So I buy those fresh greens. My other trick is I use cabbage instead of lettuce on my sandwiches. And especially in the fall, it doesn't keep as well, but it'll usually keep through December, is Napa cabbage, which is more leafy like, and it has more nutrition, more flavor than lettuce. And you can buy it from a local farmer and have it for a few months. I still have wonderful green and purple lettuce in my purple cabbage in my refrigerator. Hydroponic. This is where you grow, instead of in soil, you grow in water, or the roots might be in conventional coconut shell waste, and then they add liquid fertilizers. We feel it's illegal to label that as organic. The USDA is letting these giant corporations get away with it, but you'll find a lot of tomatoes this time of the year. They're almost all hydroponic. Lots of peppers that look beautiful. There's nothing wrong with adding a few of those to your diet, but in terms of gaining nutrition and supporting the environment and supporting your local farmers, there's a small hydroponic farm here in my county, Vernon County, Wisconsin, and I enjoy a few of their tomatoes once in a while, but even though they're labeled as organic, they don't really offer what a true organic tomato is. Remember, I eat those in season, and then I have canned salsa at this time of the year and other canned tomato products. So I'm going to wrap up now by saying that how do you do this? So there are some great there are great resources on the web to help you locate farmers. And so one is the Real Organic program. You can go there. They have about 500 farmers that are truly doing this right, not organic by substitution. Eat Wild, Local Harvest, the Weston A. Price Foundation, where they have local chapters connecting you with the very best food. Many of the state departments of agriculture have a list of local farmers, but most of all, your local farmers market and CSA. So if you're interested in joining a CSA, I would hop to it. Just like the seeds, these folks are selling out. Last year, a lot of farms switched from selling more to restaurants to more CSA focus. It's where you get a box of food delivered right into your neighborhood every week or every other week. Beautiful fresh food where you'll have a connection, a direct connection to a farm family that you're helping support. You become a co-owner of that farm for the season. So Krista, do we have any questions? I really appreciate everybody dropping in. You can, this will be on our Facebook page, archived. You can share this with friends. This will be archived at the Organic Eye YouTube channel. You'll really do us a favor if you aren't already a follower or like our Facebook page. If you do that, it elevates our exposure using their algorithms. And if you aren't already following Organic Eye directly, you can contribute and become a member at any amount on our website, or we have a free email newsletter, and you'll get notifications of this. But if you can share all that with your friends and family and people who care about food, or people you care about and want them to care more about food as being the foundation of their health, please help them connect with Organic Eye. Krista, where are we at?
Yeah, so not too many questions just yet. Again, if folks do have anything that they're wondering about or curious about, go ahead and put that into the chat box. But one person wondered where the pyramid that you mentioned at the beginning of the segment, yeah, what was the reference? Where is that at?
That was from my friend George Seaman, and that was in my head. Maybe we'll make a graphic of that someday, but let me repeat it in case anybody wants to jot it down. You know, the pinnacle is your own home garden. It's whatever's closest to your home. The next level down, I would say, is the CSA farm, where it's in your local community. So it's local, it's fresh, it's organic, and you're making an economic partnership with someone special. So you're getting that food as soon as it's harvested, as close as possible, delivered to your neighborhood. That right under that would be your local farmers market, where there would be multiple farmers. Again, they're going to be from your local neighborhood. Farmers markets have different rules. So first of all, you want to make sure they're practicing organic agriculture. You want to make sure they're really local. The largest farmers market in the country in Madison, Wisconsin, requires the farm owner to be present in the booth. So that adds a lot of meaning. A lot of these farms, CSAs, or at your markets, they will welcome you once a year to an open house or by appointment to visit the farm, see if they're raising animals, how they're treated, see how the land and the workers are treated. With the pandemic, that's not happening probably everywhere right now, but that's connecting with your food. The next level down would be your member-owned food cooperatives, where you and your neighbors band together to own a business to bring your community the very, very best food. And most food co-ops have a direct relationship with dozens of local producers, if not sometimes a couple hundred. And then finally, you've got certified organic from wherever. And it doesn't have the same story behind the label. You have to be discerning, just like the vegetables. You could have a great story with snowpack, or it could be imported or from a corporate farm. And is that better than conventional? Heck yes. But with a little bit of homework, you're going to find food up that pyramid. And I really go out of my way to buy eggs from chickens that are actually outside, milk from cows that are part of the family that have names, not numbers. And I live a really rich life. I spend a lot more on food. I certainly spend a lot more of my time on food. Right now I go out and I have two food co-ops that I can order online and they'll put it in my trunk. I have a warehouse grocery where I get my bottled water and they'll put it in my trunk, and bottled in glass from Europe, sparkling water. That's my one treat per day, not local. And then I visit the CSA farm, and then another farm owned by a friend that isn't a CSA, but they have a farm store, and that's where I buy my meat and eggs and chickens. And so local and loco. Krista, do we have any others? Okay, well, I want to thank everybody for coming. Again, this will be archived, and I hope you have great food, great health. Be careful. Things are getting a little better, but there's still these pesky little variants that are out there, and we should guard our health. And if we all do a very judicious job here, hopefully this is going to flame out. And but it's all up to us to protect our families and our neighbors. So Krista, Carter, thank you very much for your technical expertise, and we'll see everybody on the next broadcast of Kastel's Kitchen down the road. Thank you.